Well, Prime Spider-Man and Insomniac Spider-Man have been traveling through the multiverse tracking down Spot. Spot has been going through all of the different multiverse worlds trying to kill the different versions of himself. That way he can gain all of their power and finally get what he wants. Ultimate power? Destruction of Spider-Man? I'm a little unclear of his overall plans, but this is Spider-Man Unlimited, a comic book that has been coming out on the Marvel Infinity app for quite a while now, in which both of our two favorite Spider-Men are teaming up. This is Comicstorian, where I take your favorite comic books, turn them into audio drama so that you know exactly what is going on in the world of comics. This way you know what to add to your collection, and if you enjoy this type of content, make sure you find us on Spotify or our sister channel, Comicstorian Full Story. Today we're going to be covering issues 7, 8, and 9 of this multiversal adventure. Now safely in Spider-Ham's cartoon universe, both Prime Spider-Man and Insomniac Spider-Man breathe a sigh of relief, but their spider senses suddenly begin to go crazy. "Oh man, twice the Spider-Man, twice the Parker luck!" Prime Spider-Man shouts as they leap out of the way of a giant cartoon lizard that is trying to stomp on them. As the rest of the cartoon citizens begin to run from Hogzilla, Prime Spider-Man tries to slow the creature down with webbing. "Wait, this is a cartoon world, right? No one gets hurt in cartoons, so we're fine," Insomniac Spider-Man says, when suddenly Hogzilla rears back, preparing to breathe fire on them. But Spider-Ham leaps in to help, shouting for the humans to run out of the way. He takes the burst of fire, and when the smoke clears, he's sitting in a silver platter with an apple in his mouth. "I've got this! You two haul your webbed butts to a more hospitable dimension," Spider-Ham says after spitting the apple out. As the rest of the Animal Avengers leap in to stop Hogzilla, Prime Spider-Man opens up another portal. "Is every world completely nuts?" Insomniac Spider-Man asks. But Spidey drops them both into another world, one without superheroes. "Should we just get out of costume? I didn't bring a change of clothes," Insomniac Spider-Man asks. But Spidey shakes his head, pretending to be Times Square cosplayers on break to people as they pass. The two spiders then walk into Central Park, catching their breath as Prime Spider-Man explains that he hid the inheritors here for a little while. There's literally nothing that he begins to say, but they both stop as they stare at this world's Peter Parker lying on a park bench, obviously having seen better days. "Is he us?" Insomniac Spider-Man whispers. The two Peter Parkers sit down with their other-world counterparts and begin to talk with him. They offer him some money, explaining that they have had a good day in Times Square. "You mean it? Wow, that would be a help," Peter says, thanking them. Prime Spider-Man looks at homeless Peter's sign, which asks for help since he's disabled. "Do you mind if I ask?" Prime Spidey asks, pointing at the sign. Peter smiles, pulling up his pants leg, showing them scar tissue over his knee. He explains that when he was young, someone broke into their house and demanded money. Peter tried to protect his Aunt May and Uncle Ben, but was shot. When Uncle Ben moved in to help, the robbers shot and killed Uncle Ben. "Anyway, it was in the papers. You guys are probably too young to remember," Peter says quietly. He tried to help at his Aunt May, but with his medical bills and Uncle Ben's funeral, they were wiped out. "I still send her money when I can. She moved in with Mrs. Watson from next door. Her niece is a big-shot actress. Sends them way more than I can, but this'll come in handy," Peter says, looking down at the ball of cash that the two Spider-Men have given him. The Spider-Men stand up, explaining to Peter that May would probably like to see him more than what little money he can send her. "Trust me, however bad seeing her makes you feel now, you'll feel worse when you want to see her, and you can't," Insomniac Spider-Man tells him. Finally, the two Spider-Men walk away, leaving this world's Peter Parker behind, continuing their quest to stop Spot once and for all. They leap through another portal, bouncing from world to world, fighting against evil Spider-Men that Spot keeps leaving in their path, including a Loki Spider-Man and an evil Sorcerer Supreme Spider-Man. "I am really starting to hate this," Insomniac Spider-Man shouts as they leap through another portal. Spidey agrees, pointing out that there can't be that many worlds with evil Spider-Men. "We're the nice guys." They land in another world, where Insomniac Spider-Man points out that he's going to be more upset when they find that in this world, Peter's miserable. Not a single one of them is happily settled down with a house in the suburbs and a couple of kids. Prime Spider-Man nods and reminds him that Spot is leading them through worlds that will shake their confidence. He then looks down at the transporter. "Huh, I guess Spot didn't expect us to survive the war of cosmic Spideys, because this is a pretty normal Manhattan," he says, looking at his readings, and then his eyes widen. "And the Spot, our Spot, he's still here!" Prime Spidey says, and Insomniac Spider-Man nods, tightening his fist. "Well, let's go get him before he murders another version of himself." Meanwhile, across town, this world's Dr. Own is working at Fisk Industries. Suddenly, his experiments are interrupted as portals begin to appear and the Spot enters the lab. "Who?" Dr. Own shouts in surprise, but the Spot asks himself to calm down. I realize my appearance is startling, but there's nothing to fear. You know me as well as you know yourself, the Spot says as he fully enters the lab. He explains that he is the Dr. Own from another universe, and that he is here to offer a bit of his power to this world's version of him. But Dr. Own looks at him suspiciously. What's in it for you? He asks, knowing that he would want something in return. The Spot merely explains that he's trying to set up a network of Spots throughout the multiverse so that they can help each other exploit their worlds. I like the way you think, Dr. Own says, and the two shake hands and the Spot begins to transfer his power. As Johnny's body begins to transform, the Spot explains that his mind is going to have trouble adjusting. Your very perception will change. The way the world works, feels, sounds. No one can handle it for the first time. You'll be completely disoriented, and I'm sorry to say, that's when I'll be killing you, Spot says to himself. But Own suddenly looks up at him, completely coherent. He reaches out, grabbing a hold of the Spot's arm, making sure that he can't pull away. Don't feel bad. I'd have done the same in your place. In fact, I will. Spot tries to pull away as Own smiles, beginning to absorb even more of his power. I'll give you a warning as you did me. When I drain all of your power, instead of the pittance that you meant to give me, it will be painful. Spot falls to his knees as this new Own becomes a stronger version of the Spot. I understand your power as well as you do. Better, probably, because this isn't the first time that I've had it, he says with an evil smile, explaining that he once performed an experiment that transformed him, but the power quickly faded and he couldn't access it again. Own grabs Spot by the throat, lifting him into the air. Now you gave the power back to me, for which I will always be grateful. I can't let you live, of course, but I will remember you, and I won't repeat your mistakes. But the window of the lab suddenly shatters as the two Spider-Men leap into the fight. The new Spot turns to them. Ah, perfect. Saves me the trouble of finding you. Everyone who could stop me dies today, he shouts out. Insomniac Spider-Man leaps into the fight, kicking Own away from Spot, stopping the power transfer. I already got more than enough power for you idiots, Own growls, now twice the size of Spot. The spiders leap into the fight, shooting webs to try and slow Own down. Let's wrap him up before he escapes, Insomniac Spider-Man shouts. But Own generates portals around them and begins to punch through them. The spiders are shocked as small portals open up and dozens of versions of Own's fists come through, punching him. I didn't know he could do that, Insomniac Spider-Man shouts, and Prime Spider-Man dodges, blocking the blows as best as he can. Mine can't! I didn't even know this was possible! He shouts, and Insomniac Spider-Man twists around another blow, tossing out one of his web bombs to try and slow Own down. Web bomb! I don't have to yell it, but I always do, he says, but more portals appear and the webs fly through them into nowhere. How did you do that? Insomniac Spider-Man shouts in surprise, and Own glares at him. By preparing for years. You haven't got a prayer against me, Owen says, but the webs fly through the portal and into an industrial fridge that comes flying through back at him. Not a prayer. How about a fridge? Spidey asks, and the large equipment slams into Owen, knocking him through the window, sending him plummeting into the street below. Oh my god, I'm gonna die! Owen begins to scream, but suddenly remembers that he can open up portals and he disappears into one. At that moment, both Spider-Men rush to the window to watch as the villain disappears. For his sake, I hope he knows that wherever you come out, he'll be moving as fast as he was when he went in, Insomniac Spider-Man notes to Spidey. But the portal suddenly opens up wide in front of them. I know, Spot says as he comes flying out, knocking the Spider-Men aside. Both spiders slam into the ground and Owen stands over them triumphant. Falling to one's death brings great clarity. I can open up portals to infinite worlds, he says in triumph as the portals begin to open up, releasing mindless ones and shadow creatures to fight both Spider-Men. As the mindless one fires a magical energy blast at Spider-Man, he leaps out of the way, turning back to 616 Spot, the original Spot that started all of this. Spot! My world, Spot! Get off your spotted butt and help us! Prime Spidey shouts, but Spot can barely stand. I can't even open up a portal to escape this hellhole! He shouts back, and Spidey leaps over another attack. Either you help, or we all die! The adventures of both Spider-Men is coming to its eventual close, and if you want to see how this story wraps up, make sure that you like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments down below what you're enjoying about this, because this story is to be continued.